up? My name is Hannah. Welcome to the show. Today's show is super fun because I have one of my best girlfriends joining me today. Her name is Alaina Reyes. I love saying her name. She is young, 30, flirty, and thriving. Did I say that right? Name that movie. Anyways, she is just absolutely amazing. She's 30 years old, and she is looking at her life right now and wondering where it's going, but also being content in the season that she's in. You know, so many of us think that there's got to be a certain age when you're going to have your career right, if you're going to have a significant other, whatever the case may be. A lot of the times it's not on our timeline. I've found that out, and so has Alaina. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, and be inspired and watch and have fun watching it. I'm so awkward. Well, welcome to the show, everyone. My name is Hannah, your host, and today I have Miss Alaina Reyes with me.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm so happy to be doing this.
Yeah.
It's weird, but it's exciting.
It's exciting. I've talked to you so in-depthly about my dreams and my desires. So having you being part of this.
Yeah, it's real.
It's like real.
It's real.
Okay, so icebreaker question.
Okay.
What is the weirdest thing you have ever eaten in your entire life?
Oh. Probably dried crickets.
Ew.
Yeah. Somewhere in a market in Central America. I think it was either Nicaragua or Guatemala. Just eating dried crickets.
Oh my goodness.
It's good protein. High in fiber.
Right?
You know, a little crunchy.
What, did you actually like it though?
No. Okay. But you do what you're told.
I don't know.
You're here's some crickets. Yeah.
Okay, I'll eat it like chips.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
exactly. You have some hummus for this? That'd be better.
Comment below, what is the weirdest thing you have ever eaten in your entire life? It'll be kind of fun.
I'm excited to hear.
Yeah.
There's some weird things.
There's some weird things. I think the weirdest thing I've ever eaten was a deep fried fishtail at a Chinese restaurant.
Oh.
And it was really good.
I mean, deep fried. Like, honestly, you can't go wrong. I'm a big fan of fried things.
Right,
so.
it's greasy.
Yeah,
It's
greasy
delicious.
fish. Deep fried fishtail, man.
There you go. And don't forget to subscribe. So
Yes.
comment below and subscribe.
Smash the button, hit like, tell your friends. This is the place to be. The Hannah Show.
My girl. Okay, Alaina, so tell us a little bit about who you are, how old are you, and what do you do for a living?
Awesome. We got Posey.
We got Posey.
I am 29 years old. I will be turning 30 in about a month.
Wow.
So I am knocking on 30's door. I work at a ministry here in Colorado Springs called Greater Europe Mission. And
Okay.
I work sending people who want to go in the mission field short term. So anywhere from a month to a year, I help get them there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
She's gonna be bugging us the entire interview.
I mean,
sorry.
she might be bugging you, but she's certainly not Comment below if you think
Yes.
if you think Posey is a nuisance or not. I think she belongs here.
She's kind of annoying. She doesn't leave me alone ever.
But
I love her. I'm a cat mom.
Posey.
So, Alaina, you are, like you said, you're knocking on the door of 30.
Yeah,
And your relationship status, you're single.
I am single.
And you live with a house full of women.
I live not on my own.
You don't live on your own.
I live with lots of other people.
Right. And, you know, you and I have spoken, you know, as I was getting to know you this past year, how it feels right now to be seemingly not in the place you would like to be.
Yeah, or not in the place that I planned to be. Like,
right.
this wasn't the plan. I very much, I've talked to some people in older generations recently, and they're like, oh, people are waiting longer and longer to get married. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's not my story. I'm not waiting to get married. I wanted to be married by the time I was 21. I wanted to have, you know, I would want to be well on my way to having a family by now, having my own house. And so when I look at where my life is at, I am very single. Mm-hmm. I have not been able to buy a house. I have debt. Mm-hmm. I don't have kids. I don't have a family. I feel in a lot of ways like by society standards it could look like I failed in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So it's hard approaching 30. But at the same time I've had a shift of perspective of like, you know what, I have had an amazing time in my 20s.
Yes.
I've done things like eat crickets, and like I've traveled the world, and I've seen amazing things that I wouldn't have had the experience, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do otherwise. So learning to find gratitude in unexpected places, I think.
Yes. You know, so you mentioned it almost looks unacceptable to be 30 and in the place that you are in.
Yeah.
And I might even point out, being a Christian, a follower of Jesus, a lot of the times you almost get scrutinized even more.
Yeah.
Even at 25, it's like, what are you doing wrong? Like, what are you in the church? Are you around the community? Like, no, seriously, even
when
my
people
family.
ask, why are you single?
Yes.
It's like, how am I supposed to, like, I don't know. Ask the people who aren't dating me. Like, I don't know. I'm single because I'm not in a relationship. Like,
yes. I mean, even for me personally, my family members, I've had, and like, it's out of a good heart.
Of course. Yeah.
They ask me, well, are you in the church?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? It's like not about what I'm doing. Yes, there are choices that we make in life to lead us to consequences, good or bad. But it's not about what I'm doing. It's timing, I would say.
Oh, 100%. And it's also like, do I trust that God has a plan for my life? Because if so, then like that, there's a period at the end of that sentence. I trust in the Lord. I trust that He has a plan for my life. I trust that He has a man for my life.
Yes.
And it's okay for me to want that. It's okay for me to desire a husband, even when that's not something that I have currently. So, and truthfully, like my relationship with the Lord is one where I am asking Him, like, God, I want the man that you have for me.
Right.
Not the one that I think is perfect. I want the man that you have said, this one is for Alaina.
Yes.
And if it takes a little bit longer for me to find that man because he's working on himself or God's perfecting our stories individually before He perfects it together, I'm okay with that.
Right.
It's a good thing. I haven't failed. I haven't missed anything. But people in the church can ask really hard, demeaning questions sometimes.
And
unintentionally.
Yes.
With the best intentions, but it hurts.
It's like a punch to the gut a little bit, where you go, oh, don't remind me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful because you are content and you are a whole person.
Oh, 100%.
And I do want to say, you know, when I have those desires, and those are very real human, God-given desires, that doesn't mean that I'm being impatient, or that doesn't mean that I'm not content or
That's
whole.
good.
That means, you know what, this is just a God-given desire, and it's going to come to pass. And I feel that for you, too.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I also would say that there is a difference between a want and a need.
Yeah.
And what you just said was God's going to have the best for you, whatever that is, career-wise, fiance, marriage, whatever it is.
Yeah.
He has what you need, not necessarily what you want.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden you're going to discover that what He needs, what He is actually what you want.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it totally makes sense. And I think it's also, you know, being someone who's lived a lot of life in her 30s, I've seen a lot of things, I've seen a lot of joys and a lot of pain. I feel more prepared now to enter into a serious relationship than I did 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And obviously the story is different for everybody.
Yes.
And I think that's a beautiful thing, that there's not a set guidebook that everyone can follow. But for me, I think God said, I have some things I want you to see first. I have some life I want you to experience first. So while, turning 30, this isn't what I thought my life would look like, I'm still really happy. I'm looking forward. If my life doesn't end when I turn 30, I have a lot of life left to live. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of life. Okay, and a beautiful future with your husband someday.
Yeah.
And whatever career you're going to be in. So looking back, would you say it was not the best timing to get married at 21?
For me, no. For me, no. And truthfully, if there's some people who will see this who know that I have been talking about marriage since I was in my late teens, ready to get married right away and start a family.
Yeah.
So for them to hear, like, Alaina, what do you mean you weren't ready at 21? I mean, I wasn't ready at 21. I mean that God had a lot of things to teach me. I had a lot of things I needed to learn about myself and what I believe as an individual.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest thing you would say you have learned in your 20s? Because a lot of the demographic that actually watches this are in their 20s.
Yeah. I think one of the most important things for me, especially looking at the relationships that I've been in and learning, the mindset that I've had in past relationships was, I have a tendency to be a selfish person and make it about me. Like, that's my natural go-to. So I fought that really hard in my relationships and made it all about the other person. What can I do for you? How can I help you? How can I support you? How can I bless you? And in doing that, I allowed them to treat me poorly. And it wasn't because they were bad men. It was because they thought this was the standard I was allowing. Was making it all about them and not about me. So one of the things I've learned is that it's okay to be selfish in your relationships.
Yeah.
It's okay to figure out these are the needs that I have that are non-negotiable. And relationships are two different people from two different backgrounds learning to work together. And you're not going to be the same on everything. There are going to be some areas where you disagree.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But if I could go back in time and redo some of my relationships, I would have been a little bit more selfish and a little bit more vocal about the things that I needed.
Right.
Because I can't live a life totally selfless.
Yes.
It's not sustainable. It might have looked good for a moment, but it would not be sustainable. So.
This is a partnership.
Absolutely.
And so I kind of want to speak upon even the older generation from what I have seen in my own personal life.
Yeah.
And with my grandparents a little bit. There has been a gender domination almost in the older generation. And that's what I have seen personally. I'm not saying that's for everyone and everyone's relationship or circumstance.
Yeah.
But how do we as women stand up and break that mold and say, you know what? No. We are equal, and you're going to treat me as your equal.
Yeah. Yep. That's the question. And I don't know. And I don't know where you draw the line. Because especially in a Christian community, you can see a lot of emphasis on the man as the head of the household. And with that comes this temptation to be a very submissive housewife. And I'm an individual. I'm someone who needs to be seen. I am not Chris's husband, or Chris's wife, rather. I am not Greg's wife. I am Alaina. Like, I remember I went to a Bible college, and I was in a very serious relationship at the time, and I was telling one of my professors about my boyfriend, and he was studying to be a doctor. And they were like, oh, so you're going to be a doctor's wife? And I'm like, no.
Already identifying you. They're putting a mark or a label.
No,
right.
You are my professor. Like, you are, and like, they were men that I admired so much. And like, immediately it's like, oh, so you're going to be a doctor's wife. No, I'm going to be Alaina married to a doctor.
Right.
Which that didn't even happen. So, but, it's a hard line to draw to figure out how do I be an individual, someone who is independent and strong, while also being in a relationship with another person. It's hard. It's not something there's one answer to. I think it's an ongoing conversation.
So you're definitely speaking some light into me and hopefully so many other women. How do you stay, because I'm sure throughout your 20s there were moments of sadness.
Oh yeah. Yesterday. All the time. I'm a 4 on the Enneagram, so I'm very familiar with sadness.
Right. So, yeah, we're open right now. Like, I'm not saying that we're content in where we're at in our season in life, but we're not saying that we don't get sad. Because saying that we don't get sad, like, oh, I'm happy all the time, like, that's just saying, like, I'm not human. Because we're human, we have those desires, and sometimes those desires can kind of overwhelm when you're not seeing it. How do you, like, speak some life into me, Alaina? Like, how do you find complete wholeness and contentment when you're going through a season of whatever season that might be? Maybe you are trying to buy a house. Maybe you are trying to find your future husband. Maybe you are trying to find that awesome job or starting your dream. How do you find contentment in the season that you are where you are right now?
So I can speak really well to this because I am an Enneagram 4, I'm really familiar with my emotions. I'm familiar with melancholy and sadness. And I really value my emotions, the full spectrum, from full joy to full heartbreak. And I allow myself to sit in sadness a little bit. Now, I don't want to say that this is for everybody because I do value my emotions. I know that they're temporary. I know when I'm having a sad day, I'm not going to be sad forever. So I'm just going to allow myself to feel this right now. So I really value feeling the emotions that you're feeling, but I don't let that dictate my actions rather. Excuse me. And I learned that in therapy. Don't let your emotions dictate your actions. Therapy is great, guys. Everyone should do that. Because when if I were allowed my sadness to dictate my actions, I would become someone who is bitter, who was lethargic, who was angry. And that's not who I am. That's not who God created me to be. Instead, I let my hopes and dreams and desires motivate my actions. You know, if I am hoping for a life where I am debt free, I have bought my house, I have a man that I love, and I have a baby on my hip, then what actions am I going to take to get to that dream?
Right.
So it's letting my dreams dictate my actions and not my emotions. Allow yourself to be sad, allow yourself to be down, but then keep moving.
Yes, you don't sit in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta pick yourself up.
Gotta keep going.
I have a very raw question for you.
Okay.
How do you not become bitter towards God during these seasons?
That's a really interesting question. And I think different people would answer that different ways. My tendency when I'm feeling disappointed with my life or how it's turned out, my tendency is always to turn to self-loathing. So rather than hate on God or become bitter at God, I view God as someone who's like, he's always there, he's constant, he's good, but I'm the one who screwed it up. I messed up. I heard God wrong. I made the wrong decision.
Right.
So it turns into this really ugly anger and resentment. And the thing is, all comes full circle. If I am viewing myself as someone who is ugly and bitter and just full of mistakes, that is not honoring who God created me to be.
Yeah.
So while I might say like, no, I don't have a problem with God, I have a problem with myself. It's like, no, you have a problem with God because he's the one who created you.
Oh, that's so good.
So, sorry, Miss Posey. So as much as I do fall into the temptation to be really hard on myself and I struggle with self-loathing, I need to remember my creator and like God didn't create the way that I view myself in the mirror. Like he didn't create an ugly, imperfect, bitter Alaina. He created someone who overcomes. He created Alaina with dreams. He created Alaina with purpose. So do I believe that? Because if so, I need to fix up with my reflection. Like I want to view myself the way that God views me. And the only way that we can do that is seeing through, gosh, I'm going to get on the gospel tangent, like seeing through
love it.
The blood of Christ, because I am covered, I am redeemed, I am not that person who's covered in sin anymore.
Yeah.
I am a new creation in Christ. So I need to believe that about God in order to believe good things about myself. That is not something I do every day. Like it's hard.
Yes.
I have to fight for it.
Well, when you're flirting with the enemy, because a lot of the times it's easy to hear the lies and believe them. It's easy.
Oh yeah, they're familiar.
They're familiar.
Yeah.
It's like, who told you that?
Yeah.
You know? One of the greatest moments I've ever had with you, and I mean this. So I was sharing with you like a fun little vacation dream that I had. And judge me, whatever, I don't care. It's just like, I'm a very bougie person. I love the extravagant things in life. I am!
You are, and we love you for it, Hannah. Don't ever change.
You know? And thank you. And I just mentioned to you and the girls one day, I said, I would love to like vacation in the Hamptons, drinking a pina colada, looking at that water. with, you know what I mean? And just being wined and dined on. And I said, I don't know if that would ever be possible. And I don't know if that's like being, you know, kind of like gluttonous in a way, asking for that. And you like stopped me in my tracks and you said, Hannah, God is a God of extravagance.
Yes, he is.
He gives you
abundance.
Abundance. He gives you this and more. He gives you this and more. Leftovers, baby.
Yeah.
And that is just a testimony of
if
who
you want
are.
a vacation in the Hamptons, girl, you better do it.
Yes.
That is not my dream. My vacation is like living in an Airstream in Yellowstone. Like, that's what I want to do.
Right.
But girlfriend, you want to go to the Hamptons, you go to the Hamptons.
Right.
God gives us our dreams for a reason.
Yeah.
Do you know that? Like, he gave you the dreams that you have for a reason. And it's not so that you can have 50% of that or 25% of that.
Right.
Like, he gave you those dreams because he wants you to receive them. He gave me dreams of an extravagant romance because that's what my story is going to be.
Yes.
Like, that's what it's going to be. He didn't give me that so I, you know, would be single forever.
No.
And dang it, I'm ready.
So your last words right now, if someone's sitting here, they're 30, 35, 25, whatever age that they are, and they didn't think their life would be as it is today, what do you say to them?
I would say that as a people group, we are far too short-sighted. We are looking at the next 2 years or the next 3 years, especially in our 20s. We're looking at what we can achieve right now. And I would just challenge you to become more farsighted. I think sometimes we set our dreams that are so easily attained that once we get them, it's like, now what?
Right.
Like, maybe your dream was for the marriage, house, kids, and you got that. You're 26 and you're like, now what? Dream bigger. Look further into the future. Like, I'm going to be living this extravagant life well into my 50s and 60s. And like, I'm setting dreams that I know aren't going to be attained until then. So I keep having something to work towards. So I really believe in looking further than the next couple years. Be farsighted and dream big.
Alaina, you are inspirational. You are inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you. I love this. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you, and I'm excited to see what comes next.
Thank you. As always, be part of the conversation, be loved, and be inspired.